going to be our video 2. In the last video, video 1, I did an introduction. Okay, we talked about the quadratic formula and everything. Today we're going to do number 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you will be responsible for... I forgot to set my timer. Okay, I promise you no more than 15 minutes, and I keep my word. So, today we're going to do 3, 4, 5, and 6. As always, get a piece of paper. You can write this down on a piece of paper because these are 1 through 6 on your homework sheet. Okay, so I'm doing half like I normally would in the classroom, and you'll be responsible for the other half. If you can pull up the video and watch it on your phone, and then you can just write your stuff on Canvas. As I've said on the last video, make sure that you're showing your work. I will be able to tell if you use PhotoMath or not, okay, because I already took pictures of PhotoMath and could see the steps versus the steps that I would take. So then I'm going to try it. Not pulling one over on nobody. Okay, so number 3, we got 4k squared minus 64 equals 0. Okay, and above here, I'm going to write our normal, what a quadratic should look like, ax squared plus bx plus c. So we're going to start by just looking at it and being able to identify our A, B, and C, okay? And you guys don't necessarily need to do this. However, I do think that it's helpful. Okay, so by looking at this, we're going to say, well, what is our A? Our A is our x squared or our k squared term. In this case, it's 4. Our B, well, if you look at this, normally it would have 1, 2, 3 terms or 3 numbers. It doesn't, and there's no just k by itself. So our B is going to be 0. And I can promise you on your guys's 6 through 12, you won't have any without a middle term, a B term. But I did want to be able to show it to you, okay? So, and then our C is going to be minus 64. Okay, so we're just going to start plugging stuff in. So you got negative, parentheses, our B is 0, plus or minus the square root of B squared. So you got 0 squared minus 4 times our A times our C is going to be negative 64. Okay, all over 2 times our A is 4. Okay, and so we're just going to start simplifying. Well, negative times 0 is just still going to be 0. So you can just write 0, and we're going to leave that there because I don't want you guys to get screwed up, okay? Plus or minus, and on the inside we got 0 squared, so it's just still going to be 0. And this whole chunk, you can type in on your calculator, which is what we talked about in the last video. So you can say negative 4 times negative 64. And when you multiply all of those, you're going to get, it's going to pop out on your calculator. It's going to say 1024. So you know that to be positive, so make sure you put plus 1024. All over 2 times 4 is going to be 8. Okay, so all we're doing is just simplifying these baby steps. And then we could say, well, what can we combine under here? 0 plus 1024 is still going to be the same. So you got 0 plus or minus square root of 1024 over 8. Okay, and as I talked about in the last video, use your phone, okay, and go to your calculator. You can type in 1024 first and then turn it sideways, or just turn it sideways first. And what you're looking for is this button, okay, because I couldn't really see it on the last video when I rewatched it. It looks like this. This is the button that you want to use. And what that really says is you're typing in the number for the x and you're taking the square root. So you're going to hit that button and it's just going to out pop and it's going to say 32. Okay, so we no longer have the square root symbol. We have 0 plus or minus 32 over 8. And now we can simplify this the rest of the way. And so now that we got it just down to numbers, no other, I don't want to say crap, but crap with square root symbols and all this, you can write it twice. So you're going to say 0 plus 32 over 8 and 0 minus 32 over 8. Okay, well, 0 plus 32, and I wrote this wrong. 0 plus 32 is going to be 32 over 8. And over here, you're going to have negative 32 over 8. Okay, so you're going to be left with 32 divided by 8 is 4. Negative 32 divided by 8 is negative 4. Okay, so these are going to be your 2 answers. And on all of these, you should have 2 answers. Okay, and they should be a whole number. By that, I mean no decimal, no fraction. Okay, so if you get something other than 2 answers, then you're wrong. Okay, you need to go back and recheck some steps. And I'm gonna be honest, I started this video earlier and then I realized that I wrote the wrong number down for my A. I had wrote 1 because I was not paying attention. So make sure that you take your time, go step by step. If you make a mistake, that's okay. Teachers do it too, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and erase this, and we're going to write up number 4 up here, okay? Please feel free to rewind it or something if you are going a little bit slower than when I go. I promised you 15 minutes, and that's what I meant. So that's what I'm trying to keep my time under, okay? So number 4 says, and we got number 4, it is negative m squared minus 5m plus 36 equals 0. Okay, so as always, we're going to identify our A, B, and C. So we got A equals, B equals, C equals. Okay, you don't actually have to do this part, but I do think that it's helpful as far as just being able to look at it and plug in the stuff. So our A is going to be negative 1, our B is going to be negative 5, and our C is going to be 36. Okay, so now we're ready to plug our stuff in. So you got negative parenthesis, and we're going to plug in our B, which is negative 5 plus or minus the square root of B squared. So you got negative 5, and we'll make sure we're using our parentheses. 4 times A is negative 1 times C is going to be 36. All over 2 times our A is negative 1. Okay, and so we're going to start to simplify. So we got a negative, negative. We know that that's going to be a positive. Okay. Joke my face. That's what I normally do in class. That means you answer me. Okay. And then you got square root. Negative 5 squared, so 5 times 5, or negative 5 times 5 is going to be 25. And then this part, you can plug in on your calculator, okay? So you got negative 4 times negative 1 times 36 is going to give you 144. And it's going to say just 144, so you know that that's positive. So you're going to say plus 144 over 2 times negative 1 is going to be negative 2. Okay, we're going to say, well, what can we combine? You can combine this addition part. So 5 plus or minus the square root of 169 over negative 2. Okay, and you got to make sure that you turn your phone sideways and look for this little button. Okay, so you're going to say 169, you're going to type that in, and you turn your phone sideways and you push this button, and it's going to outspit you a 13 for this whole part. Okay, so you could cross this part off and now write 5 plus or minus 13 over negative 2. Okay, so 5 plus 13 is going to give you 18 over negative 2. Scratch that, okay, because I don't feel like we're ready to skip a step yet. Okay, so we're going to write it twice. So you're going to say 5 plus 13 over negative 2, and you got 5 minus 13 over negative 2. And that's my bad. I was just kind of doing some steps in my head without actually showing you what I was doing. So you got 5 plus 13 is going to give you 18 over negative 2. And 5 minus 13 is going to give you negative 6 over negative 2. So 18 divided by negative 2 is going to give you, this is 8. Is going to be negative 9, and then this one is going to be negative 8 divided by negative 2 is 4. I don't know why I wrote 6. I don't know. It should be 8. Okay. So there's your 2 answers. Okay. So I got 2 more to do. These ones I'm going to pick up the pace just a little bit. Okay. So as always, try to think about what I'm doing. Try to solve some of this on your own. So number 5, I got 4x squared minus 4x minus 24 equals 0. Okay, so we're going to say, well, what's our A, our B, and our C. Our A is going to be 4, our B is negative 4, and our C is negative 24. Okay, so you got negative, and our B is negative 4, plus or minus the square root of negative B squared, so negative 4 squared minus 4 times our A is 4, times our C is negative 24. All over 2 times our A is 4. Okay, so a negative negative is going to give us a positive 4, plus or minus. Negative 4 squared is going to be 16. And you got negative 4 times 24 is going to give you positive 384 all over 8. Okay, and we can combine the inside. So you got 4 plus or minus the square root of 400 over 8. Okay, and we say, well, what's the square root of 400? It's 4 plus or minus. Okay, and once you take that square root, you're going to be done with it, and it's going to be 220. 220. You hear me? Okay, and then now we got this all down to single numbers, so we can write it twice. So you got 4 plus 20 over 8, and 4 minus 20 over 8. 4 plus 20 is going to be 24 over 8. 4 minus 20 is going to be negative 16 over 8. 24 divided by 8 is 3, and negative 16 divided by 8 is negative 2. Okay, and then we have one more to do, and it's number 6. Okay, so I'm going to sit for just a second. Okay, so number 6. X squared minus 7x minus 8 equals 0. Okay, and please get a hold of me. If it does not make sense what I'm doing, or the way that I'm teaching is not making sense, please get a hold of me, okay? So we're going to identify our A, our B, and our C. Our A in this case, there's nothing here, and there's no sign, so it's going to be 1. Our B is negative 7, and our C is negative 8. Okay, and we're ready to start plugging in our formula. So you got negative, and our B is negative 7, plus or minus the square root of B squared, so negative 7 squared, minus 4 times our A is 1, times our C is negative 8. All over 2 times our A is 1. Okay, so you got a negative, that's just going to be a positive 7, plus or minus. And you got negative 7 squared is going to be 49. And then you got negative 4 times 1 times negative 8 is going to be positive 32. All over 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, so we can simplify this inner chunk underneath the square root. So 7 plus or minus. And we got 49 plus 32 is going to give you 81. All over 2. Okay, and we're going to say, well, what's the square root of 81? It's going to be 9, so you got 7 plus or minus 9 over 2. And we got this down to single digits, so we can write it twice. So you got 7 plus 9 over 2, and 7 minus 9 over 2. Okay, so you got 16 over 2, and negative 2 over 2. Okay, so this 16 divided by 2 is going to be 8. And negative 2 divided by 2 is going to be negative 1. Okay? So hopefully by now you got the gist of it to be able to solve these. And I'm doing good. I got 1 minute left. Apparently I got 30 seconds left. My husband's trying to be a nitpick. Okay, so make sure that your next day of e-learning is going to be 7 through 12. Okay, so make sure that you're showing your steps. Okay, you should get down to 2 answers. Okay, and they should be whole numbers, no fractions, no decimals. Okay, if not, chances are it's got to be something with your B or something with your square root. Okay, so most of the time it's going to be easier to write down what's your A, B, and C and just plug it in. Make sure that you're using parentheses. if you are lost, get a hold of me, okay? Hit me up through Remind or some other form, okay? And I will post the link to these videos so that way you can watch them on your phone on YouTube on my channel. Okay, so, and have at it. See you soon.